You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
Me to need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you're just grabbing something from your smart fridge, thinking about groceries. And meanwhile, that fridge could be quietly, helping hackers map out your home network.
Wow.
Or maybe you're earning points towards a free coffee, and those points, believe it or not, are being traded on the dark web like actual currency.
It really does sound like sci-fi, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the unexpected reality of cyber threats today, especially when it comes to retail.
Yeah.
It's a landscape that's expanded dramatically, moving far beyond just like classic credit card theft.
Exactly. We're diving into how attackers are targeting loyalty programs, supply chains, customer service, and even the internet-connected devices that are just everywhere now.
On stores, in our houses.
Right. The scale and the creativity of these attacks are just much bigger than you might initially think.
And to really get our heads around what's happening, we've pulled together insights from, quite a stack of sources, articles, research notes, even some observations you've shared with us.
So, our mission for this deep dive is to cut through the noise, pull out the most important nuggets, figure out why this whole evolving threat landscape matters directly to you.
As a consumer, maybe as a business owner.
Exactly. And most importantly, what concrete steps you can actually take. So, let's get into it.
Okay. What's really striking when you look across these sources is just how much of a bullseye retail has become for cybercriminals.
A bullseye, yeah.
And this isn't just hitting the big Fortune 500 companies. It's affecting everything from, a local e-commerce shop to huge names like Marks & Spencer.
But why retail specifically? What makes them such attractive targets compared to, say, banks or government agencies? They seem like they'd have tighter security.
That's a great question. It's really a combination of factors. First, retailers handle an absolutely massive volume of transactions. Just think about it.
Right. Constant flow.
And critically, they collect huge amounts of data. We're talking personally identifiable information, PII, your name, address.
Emails, purchase history.
Detailed purchase histories, preferences, sometimes even saved payment details.
Yeah.
This data is, it's gold to criminals.
Okay.
On top of that, many retailers, especially smaller ones, often have under-resourced IT departments compared to financial institutions.
Right. They're focused on selling, not necessarily cybersecurity fortresses.
Exactly. And then there's the growing number of connected devices within their operations online and in physical stores. Each one is another potential entry point.
And the data we looked at confirms it's getting worse, significantly worse.
Oh, yeah.
The sources highlight this surge in attacks, some showing, over a 400% increase just since 2020?
Yeah, something like that. It's staggering. That's not a gradual trend. That's an explosion.
It really is.
And the sophistication has increased, too. Attackers aren't just trying to skim cards at the point of sale anymore. That's almost old news.
So what are they doing now?
They're going after supply chains, which can halt operations entirely. They're getting into customer service, databases, inventory systems.
Crippling the business itself.
Precisely. We've seen instances where entire retail operations get locked up and held for ransom.
Right.
Ransomware.
Okay, so here's where it takes a surprising turn, I thought. The sources spend a lot of time talking about the unexpected value of loyalty programs.
Ah, yes.
Like those points you earn for coffee or gas. Apparently, they're treated like currency now.
Absolutely. It sounds a bit absurd on the surface, doesn't it? Trading points for free pastry or whatever.
Yeah.
But on the dark web, those loyalty accounts are treated like really valuable assets. One source described them as the new Bitcoin. Another likened points to gold bars.
Okay, the new Bitcoin is a strong statement. But what are hackers really getting from a loyalty account besides, maybe a free Slurpee in Slovakia like the source mentioned?
Right, that's the key. It's rarely just about the points themselves, though sometimes it is.
Okay.
Loyalty accounts are usually tied to a wealth of PII, your full name, email, physical address, maybe your phone number.
Your buying habits.
Exactly, your purchase history, which reveals a lot about your habits, your lifestyle. And sometimes if you've saved a payment method to your loyalty app for faster checkout,
Uh-oh.
well, that could potentially be linked too, although To be fair, core payment data is usually stored more securely elsewhere, usually.
So they're not just getting your discount code, they're potentially getting a really detailed profile of you.
Exactly. A profile they can sell or use for identity theft or more targeted phishing attacks.
And why are these loyalty programs easier targets?
Well, often the databases or the apps that manage loyalty programs weren't built with the same stringent security protocols as the main payment processing systems.
I see. Less scrutiny, maybe.
Less scrutiny, perhaps older tech, easier to breach. Plus, let's be honest, how often do you check your loyalty point balance?
Maybe when I think I'm close to a free coffee. Not daily, like my bank account, that's for sure.
Precisely. So breaches can go undetected for much longer. It gives attackers more time.
It's like that analogy from one of the sources, signing up for some loyalty program for a small perk without really thinking about the risk. It feels a bit like handing over your personal details just for a small coupon.
It's a good way to put it. And amplifying all of this, making it more complex and dangerous, is AI, which the sources describe as playing this fascinating kind of dual role. It's both a powerful tool for defense and an incredibly effective weapon for attackers.
The digital double agent, as one source called it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are retailers trying to use AI as the superhero here?
Well, on the defense side, retailers are using AI quite effectively to detect fraudulent transactions in real time
Oh.
by analyzing patterns in data that are just too complex or too fast for humans to spot quickly. They're also using it to train their own security systems, running simulated attacks.
Like red teaming.
Exactly, red teaming, using AI to mimic attacker behavior to find vulnerabilities before the actual bad guys do.
Okay, so AI is helping build better digital firewalls, essentially.
You could say that, yeah.
But the sources make it really clear it's also helping the attackers build better battering rams.
Absolutely. Attackers are leveraging AI in some pretty scary ways. They're using it to create incredibly sophisticated phishing emails.
How so?
They're personalized, grammatically perfect, look identical to legitimate communications from brands you trust. Much harder to spot than the old, clumsy attempts.
And the voice cleaning.
Yeah, using AI to clone voices for social engineering attacks, simulating calls from your bank, maybe a colleague, even a family member. It's getting very convincing.
That's terrifying.
It is. AI can also analyze potential targets to find the weakest link in an organization, or even automate parts of the attack process itself.
So it speeds things up for them.
Massively.
Yeah.
The quote from the source really stuck with me. AI doesn't inherently care who wins. It just runs the script written by whoever is better at using it.
Chilling. And we're seeing this play out in the real world, unfortunately. The stories and the sources really drive it home.
They really do. Take the example of Jessica. Remember her, the owner of that small e-commerce business.
Oh, right. Selling the emotional support cat-shaped candles. Very specific.
Wonderfully specific, and not a huge corporation. It's a niche online shop.
Right. So what happened?
Well, Jessica fell victim to a really convincing phishing attack. It might have been a fake email, looked like it came from her payment processor, asking her to verify her login.
Or maybe a Slack message.
Or maybe a message on a platform like Slack or Teams. Looked like it was from a colleague or supplier requesting a wire transfer urgently. She clicked, or she logged in, or maybe the money was sent.
And boom.
And suddenly, her customer list was compromised. All those details she carefully collected emails, maybe birthdays for special offers leaked.
That's devastating for a small business. It's not just a data breach. It's a major blow to her reputation, her trust with customers.
Exactly. And this kind of vulnerability scales right up to the biggest companies. We've seen several high-profile cases just recently mentioned in the materials.
Like Marks and Spencer.
Yeah. Marks and Spencer experienced a supply chain hack. It caused significant disruptions to their orders and raised serious concerns about potential impacts on customer data, possibly including loyalty details.
And MGM Resorts. That was a big one.
Huge. Reportedly lost millions in an attack that leveraged social engineering, where attackers apparently used AI-mimicked voices to trick employees into giving them access to internal systems.
Just trick them over the phone, basically.
Essentially, yes. Then there was the Ticketmaster breach.
Affecting what, over 500 million users?
Over 560 million users, yeah. Attributing to vulnerabilities in their APIs, basically. The ways their different software systems talk to each other. And that data included stuff related to loyalty programs and user access perks.
And JD Sports too, right?
Yep, JD Sports had a major incident. Data for about 10 million customers was exposed, and part of the reason cited was outdated systems. It really highlights how legacy technology in retail is a significant weakness.
Still running old software.
It happens more than you'd think. And even platforms like Shopify, which hosts so many small businesses.
Yeah.
Their merchants have been targeted by sophisticated AI-generated fake support agents, bots pretending to be Shopify support, specifically designed to phish for the merchant's login credentials.
Wow. So the fakes are getting really good.
Scarily good.
It really does feel like the attack surface, the number of places they can hit, is expanding everywhere.
Mm.
And it's not just online systems, is it? The sources also point out how even everyday physical devices around us can become vulnerabilities.
This is such a crucial point, and one that often gets overlooked. We're surrounded by internet-connected devices now, in stores and especially in our homes, and many of them just weren't built with strong security in mind.
You mean like the smart fridges we mentioned at the start?
Exactly. Smart fridges, point-of-sale terminals in shops, even the Wi-Fi-enabled coffee machine in the office break room.
Barcode scanners, those smart mirrors some clothing stores have, AI voice assistants.
All potential entry points. These devices often run on older software that, frankly, never gets updated.
Set it and forget it.
Right. They might have weak default passwords that nobody ever changes, and they usually lack robust security monitoring.
So how does that pose a risk? What can hackers do with a compromised coffee machine?
Well, an attacker could compromise one of these less secure devices to get a foothold inside the network. From there, they might use it as part of a large-scale botnet attack to flood other systems.
Like a denial of service attack.
Exactly. Or they could potentially pivot from that compromised device, the coffee machine, the fridge, to access more sensitive data elsewhere on the network. One source jokingly called the smart fridge a potential snitch because of its ability to observe network traffic or provide that initial access point.
A snitch in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, so if everything from loyalty apps to coffee machines is potentially a liability, what can you actually do? What does the material suggest for protecting yourself as a consumer? And maybe for business owners listening, protecting their operations.
Yeah, it feels overwhelming, but the good news is the sources offer some very practical, actionable advice. It's not hopeless.
Okay, good. Let's start with consumers. What can you do?
The fundamentals are more important than ever. First, strong, unique passwords.
We hear this all the time, but it's crucial, isn't it?
It really is. Don't reuse passwords anywhere, especially for things like loyalty programs that might seem low risk, but, as we've seen, can be gateways to your PII.
Okay. Unique passwords. What else?
Enable two-factor authentication, or 2FA, on every single account where it's offered. No exceptions.
Why is 2FA so important?
Think of it like adding a deadbolt to your digital front door. Even if someone somehow gets your password, maybe from another breach, they still can't get into your account without that second step, which is usually a code sent to your phone or an authenticator app.
Makes sense. Add that second lock.
Absolutely. Also, back up your important data regularly. If you get hit with ransomware, having a backup can be a lifesaver.
And stay informed, right?
Yes. Educate yourself not just broadly about cybersecurity, but specifically about the current tactics attackers are using, like the AI-driven phishing and voice scams we've discussed. Know what to look out for.
What about those loyalty apps specifically?
Don't store your loyalty logins in like an unprotected note on your phone, or let your browser save them without a master password. Treat them with a bit more care.
Should you link payment cards?
If the loyalty program gives you the option, consider not directly linking your main payment card to the account, even if it means slightly less convenience at checkout. Maybe use a virtual card or just don't link it at all.
Okay. And there was a great specific tip in the sources about checking balances.
Yes. Get in the habit of checking your loyalty point balances regularly, maybe once a month or so.
Why?
If you suddenly see unexpected activity like points being used for those Slurpees in Slovakia when you haven't left your hometown, it's a huge red flag. It could be an early warning that your account, and potentially a related PII, has been compromised.
Catch it early.
Exactly. And finally, for consumers, be incredibly cautious about clicking links in emails, texts, or social media messages, especially if they promise something that seems too good to be true, like an unbelievable discount.
Check the URL.
Always check the actual web address, the URL, very carefully before you click or enter any information. Hover over the link. Phishing attacks are getting scarily realistic thanks to AI, so vigilance is key.
Okay, that's a good list for consumers. What about for the retailers and business owners listening? It sounds like a major undertaking for them.
It is, and it requires investment. A key takeaway for the sources is treat your loyalty program data with the same level of security and rigor as you treat payment card data.
So, encryption, audits.
Absolutely. Encryption, arrest, and in transit, regular security audits of those specific databases and systems. Don't treat it as an afterthought.
And staff training seems critical.
Hugely critical. Train your staff, and not just general awareness training. Train them specifically on how to spot sophisticated AI-driven phishing attempts, voice cloning scams, and other social engineering tactics. Remember, attackers often try to exploit human trust or agency.
Makes sense. What else for businesses?
Be disciplined about the data you collect from customers. Minimize it. Only collect what is strictly necessary for the service you're providing.
Why?
Less data collected means less risk and less potential damage if a breach does occur. Don't hoard data you don't truly need.
And don't try to DIY the security.
Please don't. Hire actual cybersecurity experts, not just your cousin who's good with computers. This is a specialized field now.
Right.
Patching software religiously is non-negotiable. We saw with JD Sports how outdated systems create huge vulnerabilities. Keep everything up to date.
And system architecture.
Structurally, it's wise to separate your internal back-end systems from your customer-facing networks as much as possible. This helps contain potential damage if the front end gets compromised.
Like putting a firewall between them.
Exactly. And finally, while investing in AI-powered security tools is important and can help, they aren't magic bullets. They require expertise to configure, manage, and monitor effectively.
So expertise is key across the board.
Definitely.
Looking ahead, the sources paint this picture that feels almost like, I don't know, an AI cyber soap opera.
It does have that feel, doesn't it? This kind of escalating drama.
Yeah.
The potential trajectory described is towards these fully automated attack bots, developed with sophisticated AI, constantly battling AI defense bots deployed by companies. A sort of perpetual digital war fought over data, over loyalty points, over network access.
It's such a strange future compared to the ones we maybe imagined decades ago. We thought we might have, jetpacks or flying cars.
Teleporters, the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, we're fighting ransomware gangs, dealing with underground black markets for loyalty points, and worrying if our internet-connected toaster is about to launch a denial-of-service attack.
It's the unexpected digital frontier, I guess.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this complex, rapidly evolving landscape is precisely the kind of thing explored in some of the background material we looked at, like Tina Jin's books.
Oh, right.
They touch on everything from understanding the basics of crypto and digital assets, which are sometimes involved in ransom demands, to the very real cyber risks we face from all these connected devices, and even the need to plan for our digital legacy and assets. It all connects.
It really highlights just how integrated these digital risks have become into, well, our everyday lives and how we shop and interact with businesses.
Fully integrated.
Okay, so to quickly recap the main points from this deep dive, retail is clearly a primary target in the cyber world now, maybe more than ever.
Definitely a major battleground.
Those loyalty programs, maybe surprisingly, have become incredibly valuable assets for attackers, mainly for the PII they hold.
Don't underestimate the value of those points accounts, yeah.
And AI is rapidly raising the stakes on both sides, making attacks more sophisticated and defense more complex, the double agent.
It's accelerating everything, the good and the bad.
So staying informed is absolutely vital, and taking those fundamental proactive steps we talked about.
Strong, unique passwords, enabling 2FA everywhere you possibly can, and just maintaining that healthy skepticism and vigilance.
It's truly essential for protecting yourself in this environment.
It really is your first line of defense.
So maybe the final thought for you to consider, based on everything we've unpacked, the next time you add something to your online cart or you swipe that loyalty card at the checkout,
Yeah.
take just a second to think. Are you just making a purchase, or are you also potentially putting your personal data onto that increasingly risky playing field?
Or perhaps the even more unsettling thought to leave you with, in this expanding digital economy, are you always the customer? Or are you sometimes part of the product being traded?
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.